Welcome to an all-new Salute to America. Please rise and join us for our national anthem, as only the electronic music of 1976 could bring it to you. Galloping right along, let's take a look at America through the eyes of Greyhound bus passengers in 1956, featuring a theme song by none other than Tex Ritter himself. This film was intended to get people to experience the history of America by taking the relatively less expensive bus routes of the Greyhound line, and check out the cast and their traveling clothes. Led by the familiar face of Marshall Thompson, there was also a very young Angie Dickenson and an even younger, pre-Disney Tommy Kirk. And so, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats and let's head on down the Freedom Highway.
Gone are the dark days of the war between the states. Gone too are the rumbling wagon wheels on the old pioneer trails. Today, other wheels are rolling on the superhighways of modern America. This is a story of America and some of the people along the way. The people could be you or me or the neighbor next door. That is, all except one. The story begins on a California highway near San Francisco. Meet Jimmy Rollins of Seattle on his way to Washington, D.C. and his first Boy Scout Jamboree. He's getting a king-size thrill out of the ever-changing view of America through these big picture windows.
How's it look to you so far, son?
It's the greatest.
But take this highway, for instance. It follows the coast all the way down to San Diego. And then remember, it's the same road the Spaniards followed almost 200 years ago. Only they called it El Camino Real, King's Highway. Try and imagine how it looked then.
You mean with Spaniards on horseback?
In your own mind's eye, yes.
Fred Schroeder of Portland, Oregon, also has his place in this story of America. Summoned to the nation's capital to receive a medal for his only son, Fred Schroeder should be a proud man. He isn't.
Boy, look at that.
It's the longest single-span bridge in the world.
Gee whiz. Sure doesn't look like the Old West.
Well, maybe not here and now, but they tell me you should have seen it 100 years ago. San Francisco was the Old West then. I see that street sign up ahead?
Sutter Street.
Behind that sign, I see Sutter's Mill, in the valley of the Sacramento. The year is 1848.
Boy, I wonder what happened to all that gold.
I can tell you what happened to some of it.
This man is another figure in our story of America, perhaps the greatest of them all. Mark him well. In his way, he is to affect the lives of several people.
During the war between the states, both the North and the South badly needed that gold. Once General Grant sent a detachment to bring through a wagon train of it. They were massacred by Indians.
Where to, please?
Philadelphia. Thank you. Hi there, General.
Hey, aren't you Bill Roberts of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Could be.
Excuse me. Oh. He's a professional football player.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fumble.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Wrong way Roberts does it again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Look, there's another one. These pony riders would start out from St. Joe with a pistol and a prayer book and the Sacramento mail. No matter what the difficulties, the dangers, or the obstacles, the riders went through.
How old are you, young man?
13, sir.
13. 10 years ago. He liked the West, too.
Who, Mr. Schroeder?
He was a Boy Scout. They couldn't wait to get him in uniform, either.
Easy, Schroeder.
Let's look this guy. Don't you like this country, mister?
No, Bill.
If you want to fight for it, they'll give you a uniform, too.
I put mine away after Korea. Any more questions?
I think it's time for some answers, Bill. Mr. Schroeder's only son was killed in Korea. We just found out how. The boy's been awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. Mr. Schroeder's on his way to Washington to accept it.
Say, aren't you Tex Ritter, the movie cowboy?
That's my brand.
I saw you get on at Laramie.
Did you ever hear of Davy Crockett?
Oh, sure.
Well, this song here is about Davy and the Alamo.
Alamo and the stubborn band that stood in the path of invasion. Aye, Santa Ana, we're killing your soldiers below. That men, wherever they go, will remember the Alamo.
That's Lake Michigan.
To look at it the way it is today, it's hard to realize that right here in 1871 was the scene of the most destructive fire there ever was. Thousands of people saved themselves by wading out into the lake.
Well, I see we're pulling in. I'll be leaving you in Chicago.
We're coming to another post house. Last stop before Philadelphia.
There wouldn't have been this many people, I bet.
No, you're right. Although the roads were all pretty well traveled in 1776, some of the colonists felt they weren't being so badly treated by standards of the old country. But over here, the people were beginning to breathe the exhilarating air of freedom. The signing of the Declaration of Independence, making all men free and equal. I have an idea.
Let's get to the point.
I think we ought to take a short side trip, you and I.
This is the mysterious destination to which the stranger has lured Fred Schroeder. What connection is there between this bit of Pennsylvania countryside and far-off Korea?
I still don't know why you wanted me to come here.
I wanted us both to come here, because there's a message here we both need. And beside that monument, that's where Abraham Lincoln stood to deliver his Gettysburg Address.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth.
Did you hear that, Schroeder? That was the message we both needed. That these dead shall not have died in vain.
You've made me understand, too. You have made me proud. Proud and humble.
Look after Jimmy, will you? I'll see you in Washington.
That's the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Is the guard always there?
Always. And over there lie other heroes. The unknown of the war between the states and other wars.
Is this where we're supposed to meet him?
His name, like the words of President Harding when he dedicated this spot, the name of him whose body lies here took flight with his imperishable soul. We know only that his death marks him with the everlasting glory of an American who died for his country.
promotion, part history, The Freedom Highway from 1956.
Up in the sky! Look! It's a plane! It's a plane! It's Superman!
All right, time to lighten the mood. What would a salute to America be without a good old-fashioned American hero? Here is the one and only Superman from 1943.
Faster than a streak of lightning! More powerful than the pounding surf! Mightier than a roaring hurricane! This amazing stranger from the planet Krypton, the Man of Steel, Superman! Possessing remarkable physical strength, Superman fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice, disguised as a mild-mannered newspaper reporter, Clark Kent. But Chief...
But nothing. That's final.
Gosh, that was a close call. I've got to get to police headquarters immediately.
You're damnation sharpskipper. I send you out to bring back that woman, and what happens? You let her get away and bring me this fool. She must not get to the airport. She must be stopped.
They are probably the largest and most ruthless gang of saboteurs in this country. I know. For 6 months they thought I was one of them. This briefcase contains a list of their names, together with their diabolical plans of destruction.
Our hero. Time for a break, but we'll be back with another classic, although segmented, American hero. So don't touch that dial. We continue now with none other than Captain America himself, as presented in the first installment of the 1944 movie serial, The Purple Death.
This is the voice of the scarab, Wilson. I command you to drive your car over the cliff. The scarab is speaking to you, Evans. You have reached the end. You will walk to the window and step out into eternity.
Jackson, well-known attorney, is another link in the chain of mysterious crimes known as the Purple Death Murders. In each case, a subtle, unknown poison has been found in the bloodstream of the dead man, and each victim clutched in his hand a jeweled scarab.
Well, Mr. Mayor. And how are you, Commissioner?
Hello, Grant. The Commissioner's been alibying his failure to turn up anything in these Purple Death Murders. What are your excuses, Mr. Gardner?
I don't make excuses. The Commissioner and I have cleaned up crime waves in this town before.
Yes. That mysterious Captain America did most of your work for you.
Hold it. Captain America. Get over there.
Vibrator. If it isn't shut off, the building will collapse.
Get out. I'll try to stop
it. Next week, you kidding? It was just getting good. Somehow I think Captain America will survive.
Lazy days, warm and free.
Moving along, what's more American than a trip to the beach, or at least an oceanside village? Let's take a trip down the road to romance and visit romantic Coral Gables, Florida of 1950.
Romance.
A visit to Coral Gables, one of the world's most beautiful cities, may well feature a trip to the new campus of the University of Miami. Today, thronged by students from both Americas, the campus is an outstanding example of modern architecture. Fresh water swimming in the world-famous Venetian pools, fed by cool artesian wells, is open to all visitors in the area. From the mainland, a causeway stretches across sparkling Biscayne Bay to Cape Florida and to Crandon Beach. Certainly one of the most magnificent bathing beaches in the world. This park area, operated as a county playground, is shaded by thousands of graceful palms and was once part of America's largest coconut plantation. Fine roads and highways bring many sightseeing points of interest in the surrounding area within easy reach of the vacationist. Here is a case of giving the visitor the bird, a gaudy, colorful, and noisy costume. These macaws are completely free to fly about, with no cages, nets, or fences to restrain them. You and your family can enjoy the vacation thrills of this spot, and no matter where you live, you can reach it quickly, comfortably, and with utmost economy. Travel this year the roads to romance, to places you have always wanted to go. And when you travel, go in one of the quality motor cars your Chevrolet dealer has to offer. It will be your magic carpet that will carry you to the land of your heart's desire.
And hey, if you're going on vacation, don't forget your camera.
It's new. It's now. It's Flash Cube. Flash Cube? Flash Cube. Only with the newest Kodak Instamatic cameras. 4 full-power flashes in one tiny cube. Flash Cube. It's this way, man. Drop in the film. Get yourself a Flash Cube. Pop it on. Take 1. Take 2. Take 3. Take 4 flash pictures without changing bulbs. In color, of course. Newest Instamatic camera outfits from less than $18, only from Kodak.
Fortunately, there were lots of cameras around during the World War II years to document the events and actions of General George S. Patton, an American military legend whose life and exploits were famously portrayed by George C. Scott in a 1970 movie. This 1963 government-produced documentary was part of a series on famous U.S. generals and introduced by another American legend, Walter Matthau, and narrated by future American President Ronald Reagan.
November 1942. Long-range plans could now be discussed. Plans which would cast America's toughest general in a leading role. His tankers, whom he roused to a pitch of fighting spirit, entered the fray. Patton set a tank trap for Rommel. Rommel marched right into it. His 10th Panzer Division lost half its 60 tanks. His reputation grew. Attack, attack, and when in doubt, attack again. Patton's major principle for fighting battles or a war. His chief mission, he believed, was to arouse the morale of his men. He urged them on, certain that speed and boldness could shorten the war. Sicily proved to be a model campaign. Sound tactics and a fighting spirit won the island in 38 days. On D-Day, behind Bradley's First Army, another army assembled. Patton's Third. With plenty of armor, this outfit was like its commander. Fast, hard-hitting, spirited, spectacular. But an instinct for what the enemy will do had alerted him to a new danger. The Battle of the Bulge. Patton was asked to speed what help he could. Could it be in 3 days, Ike asked? Patton's armored troops would make it in 2, dashing 100 miles over icy roads to Bastogne. Terrible weather prevented a much-needed air attack. A religious man, Patton frequently prayed. This time, a prayer went out on thousands of printed cards for all his men to join him. Almighty and merciful Father, grant us fair weather for battle. Now the enemy was on the defensive. In Patton's book, they were destined to fail. Always he took time out to give credit where it really belonged, to the men. To Private Harold A. Garman, the Medal of Honor. On his return, Americans showed their gratitude. In General Pershing's words, it didn't hurt America to have a general so bold that he was dangerous.
You must remember this, that from Brest to various towns in southern Germany and Austria, whose names I can't pronounce, but whose places I have removed. of the 3rd Army and the 19th Tactical Air Command and the 8th Air Force is marked by more than 40,000 white crosses, 40,000 dead Americans.
Few realized how deeply he felt about his men. He had expected his own death to be spectacular. In this one prediction, he was more mistaken than in the planning of any battle. He died of injuries received in an automobile accident 4 months after the end of the war. The place of burial among the men of the 3rd Army who had fallen in the Battle of the Bulge. His personality lives on in his statue at West Point. He lived for action and glory and reached the heights in serving his country.
General Patton, a real American who loved the sting of battle. Finally, we bid you farewell for now with a rousing 1973 Air Force Band rendition of America the Beautiful.